Right, what I'm going to do in this is to solve quadratic inequalities, such as this one here. It is a quadratic because we've got a quadratic expression, and it's inequality because we've got this symbol. So it could be this, any one of these symbols. Right. To start off with, we need to factorize this. It is a quadratic, so we're going to have double brackets. Now, what two numbers multiply together to give you the 12, the last number, but when added together to give you the middle one? What two numbers? Well, it's going to be 2 and 6, because 2 times 6 is 12, 2 add 6 is 8. All right, you could put the 6 and 2 there. You can swap them around, it makes no difference. Right, the next thing we're going to do before we carry on is sketch a graph of y is equal to x squared plus 8x plus 12. We're going to sketch a graph of this. All right. For us to be able to do that, we need to understand that all quadratics have got a U shape, and the quadratics cross the x-axis at two different points. Well, this one will. Not all quadratics cross the x-axis at 2 points, but this one definitely will. You'll see in a moment. What we need to determine is the x value, how many along the corridor these two coordinates are. One thing we know about these coordinates is that the y values are definitely 0. The y values are definitely 0, right? Because it's sitting on the x-axis. The y values are 0. Knowing that information, that y is equal to 0, we can work out the corresponding x values. So here we go. Set y is equal to 0. Right, we've already factorized this. It's right here. It's already been factorized. Now, what two values of x do I need to make this 0? Well, x equals -2 and x equals to -6. Now, I've covered this topic in previous videos, how to solve quadratics, how to solve quadratic equations like this one. Based on the information that we have here already, right, we can sketch a graph of this one over here. Right, we need to have a sketch. Right, do not do this question any further unless you do a sketch, because there's a good chance you'll make a mistake. So to sketch a graph of this, we know it's going to be a U shape crossing at -2 and -6. So let's say -2 is here, -6 right there. Right, roughly. It's just a sketch. It doesn't need to be accurate. It's only there to help us answer the question. And it does something like this. As I said, it doesn't need to be accurate. Right then, now we need to solve this problem over here. Right, we're able to tackle this problem over here. I need to find all the coordinates that are less than, where all the y values are less than 0. All the y values that are less than 0. In fact, anything along here, anything below the x-axis, the y coordinates are less than 0, right? Because it's below the x-axis. So what are the corresponding x values? The corresponding x values are between -2. So anything, all these coordinates along here have an x value of less than -2. And also all these coordinates have an x value of bigger than -6. Any coordinates along here have an x value less than -2 but bigger than -6. Right, between the roots. This is the answer. This answers this question. Now, what if the questions change slightly? Right, let me just. What if the question now becomes this? Let's say I need to solve this now. Remember this, the symbol, the inequality is turned around the other way. That means y bigger than 0. All these coordinates along here, have a y value greater than 0. And same on the other side. All these have a y value greater than 0. Anything above the y-axis, anything above the x-axis, anything above the horizontal axis. Right, so all these green ones that I've done, the green dots coordinates, have a y value bigger than 0. Right? So what are the corresponding x values? Well, the corresponding x values, if you think about it, all these coordinates here have an x value bigger than -2. And all these coordinates along here have x value, right, less than -6. So this is the answer for this one. Right, one thing you got to remember is that for problems like this, you do need to factorize. You need to put a 0 on the left hand side. You need to put a 0 on one side. You need to solve the quadratic, find the two roots, use the two roots to sketch the graph to find out where it crosses the x-axis, right? And then determine what pairs of inequalities you need to have. So remember, for this scenario over here, if I just remind you, for this scenario where y is less than 0, all these coordinates here have a y value less than 0, and its corresponding x values, right, right, are less than -2 but bigger than -6. It's what I've got over here. And for this scenario over here, all the y values have to be bigger than 0. Right, all of these. And on the other side as well, anything above the x-axis, and its corresponding x values, all of these, and many, many more, have got an x value greater than -2, which is what I've got over here, but less than -6 is what I've got over here. Just remember this. If in the problem, original problem, if you've got a symbol like this, then your answers need to have symbols like this or this. It depends on the question.